What's up, everybody? I'm Brunelle. I'm here at Bishop Skate Park in Oceanside, California. And today, I think we're going to be talking about the differences between ollies and grabbing when you're skating transition. So when we're talking about the differences in ollies and grabs when skating transition, there's a lot that goes into it. I'd like the first thing being said is that when you're doing ollies on transition, that's considered gnarlier than grabbing because everything is board control. You have no grip of the board. Everything is controlled by your feet. And that's why, skaters and transition skaters in particular think it's gnarly when you see a big ollie versus seeing like a big tweaked out method or a tuck knee, because when you're doing tuck knees and grabs, you have a firm grip on the board, you have stability. But when you're doing it with no grab and ollie, then that is, that's way gnarlier. There's nothing holding the board except for your feet on the grip tape. Look at skaters like Jimmy Wilkins or Grayson Fletcher. They have a huge name for themselves. And, one of the biggest tricks that they do is ollies. When you see Jimmy Wilkins on a vert ramp and he does a frontside ollie, everyone's like, wow, that shit was insane. That was crazy. That was huge. Versus when you see Lincoln Ueda or some other gnarly skater and they do a big method, it's not as gnarly because they're grabbing the board. So I think one thing that separates grabs and ollies is where you do them and how you do them. When you're first starting to learn transition, especially if you're coming from a street background, I think it's easier to start learning how to do ollies on transition because you're already used to doing ollies on everything else. Ollies down stair sets, ollies up trails, ollies up to ledges. So you're very used to an ollie. So if you're a street skater, I would recommend, start with ollies going at angles on lower tranny and work your way up into big tranny. And then in time, from there, you can ollie into your grabs. If you're coming from like a transition background and you want to start doing airs and you're not sure if you want to do airs or ollies, I'd say start doing early grabs and work your way into bigger transition, just like the street skater would doing ollies. Or you can start trying late grabs if you're, already comfortable with grabs or comfortable with flyouts, and you can start with the hip method, like the hip video I just dropped. You'll find the link right here. But there's different ways to go about it, especially if you're coming from different backgrounds of skating, whether it's street or transition. So some instances where I think ollies would be easier than grabbing the board is like this bank obstacle right here. Because it's banked and because it doesn't go to vert, you're gonna have to ollie so that you don't hang up on the bank coming back into the transition. So that's a key point where, ollies really take effect. So I wouldn't try a grab on there first. I would try ollie, I would get used to that. And if I get comfortable with the ollie, then I would ollie into my grab. So some obstacles or features that have more transition and it's more treated like a fly out, like this obstacle right here, it's like a nipple, a bump, has transition on the other side. So since you're kind of treating it like a fly out and you want to land back in the other side, a grab would be easier here because the obstacle is kind of just launching you into the air. So if you have stability by grabbing the board, melon, tuck knee, whatever grab it is that you're comfortable with, that would be a lot easier than trying to do an ollie on this. But I'm going to show you guys examples of both so you guys can see. So the reasons ollie would be harder on an obstacle like this is because you don't have anything grabbing the board. The obstacle alone just shoots you. So everything you're doing to control your board is your feet. You know, you're rolling your feet on the board, you're keeping your board stable and your feet in the right position. So there's an instance where ollie would be much harder than grabbing. Rule of thumb for me when it comes to grabbing my board or doing an ollie, I've learned that the bigger that the transition is or the more vert that it has, I'll be more likely to grab the board because, again, it's bigger transition. It's more likely to kick me higher in the air. And when I'm higher in the air, I want to have more stability. So grabbing the board is my option. When I'm skating smaller obstacles or obstacles that don't go to vert, kind of like these quarter pipes here behind me, I'm going to have to do an ollie so that I don't hang up on the quarter pipe. So, you know, smaller quarter pipes, ollies, bigger quarter pipes, grabs. But in time, you want to get comfy so that you can switch from doing, you know, small quarter pipe ollies to small quarter pipe grabs and big quarter pipe grabs into big quarter pipe ollies. But that all comes in time. You know, you just got to keep trying, keep figuring out, keep skating different transitions. Don't always skate the same place. And, you know, you guys will be doing ollies and grabs too. And you guys will soon see the difference of why ollies are honestly harder than grabs. Skating this obstacle, quarter pipe to a bank, is a good example of why ollies are easier because it's a smaller quarter pipe into the bank. If you saw me try that Indy, I'm not catching enough air because the quarter pipe's not big enough in order to fully nose bone that Indy and dive it in the way I want. I had to tweak it back. It was kind of sketchy. So, you know, there's a good example of when it's a smaller quarter pipe, it's better to just ollie, no grab. Get used to that, and in time you guys can kick it up to bigger stuff too. So another thing I think that separates, you know, grabbing the board from just doing ollies when skating transition is the falls. The falls are going to be a lot harder. The slams are going to be a lot gnarlier, I think, when you're doing an ollie, because all that's controlling the board is your board feel, is your feet. So when you're doing an ollie, whether it's backside or front side, you know, it's more prone, it's more common for your feet to get switched up on the grip tape. And when you come back down, your feet aren't in the right position. And that's gonna, you know, send you onto the concrete or ramp or whatever it is you're skating. It's gonna send you down. So, you know, grabbing the board makes it easier to avoid those falls. But in time, you know, you wanna learn both. You wanna have both comfortable. So just keep doing a mix of them everywhere. Little transition, big transition. And you guys will see too, that grabs, you know, are a little bit easier. But, you know, doing ollies also, it feels a little bit better because it is gnarlier, let's be honest. Well guys, I hope you all enjoyed my ollie versus grab video. You guys decide what you like and let me know in the comments below which one you prefer. Personally, I prefer ollies. I think they're gnarlier, you know. It's just the way I was brought up in skating. But, you know, if you like the videos and you like skating, hit that subscribe button. I'm sure you guys will like all the other stuff I have on my channel. As always, thanks for watching. Much love. I'll see you guys on the next one.